Welcome everyone, it's Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, the websites by plebes or plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe. All right, let's go take a look at the numbers.
Number time!
At the time of this recording, the block height is 698,319. The Bitcoin price, 47,920. Chain rewrite days, 906. Total public Lightning capacity, 2,358.80 sats per dollar, 2,087, and the blocks to the halvening, 141,681.
Boring. Lightning even
It's just
went
numbers
down.
for the sake of numbers, you know? It's just... Although I did see an interesting tweet today from, I think it was Logarithmic. I'll see if I could post... You know what? I don't like to do a lot of the number speculation, but this was a really interesting tweet about the sign function, right? It's like, it said something like, move over plan B, here comes the sine wave function or something like that. Anyways, and it's like an interesting way of looking at the Bitcoin chart, and like, it's... Anyways, you know what? I'll share the link. We'll add it to the show notes, and people could take a look at the, look at the thread for themselves. It's interesting.
Interesting. But
Yeah,
dude,
but it essentially shows like a parabolic move up because of essentially, and again, it's a huge long tweet thread, but the part that I read that interested me the most is how nation states are going to battle over Bitcoin.
I saw that
Yeah,
one.
you see?
Yeah, the line, it's like a giant S going up. Dude. Bro, yeah, no, that was a great
thread, man.
That was a good thread. Let's see how it plays out, but I do agree with his game theory, but it's what I was telling you before we started recording. I think as humans, because we're confined, right, in like the way that we see the world, right, and historically speaking, we don't live long lives, so we expect things to happen a lot quicker than they do historically, right? Mm-hmm. So I do agree with him in the long term, but I don't know how fast it's going to play out, right? I would say, within the decade, right? But you see that tweet and you're like, this is going to happen tomorrow, because it's just like a reaction to it, so
what?
Yeah.
Well, what's that saying? Essentially, we overestimate what can happen in the near term, and we underestimate what could be done in the long term.
Oh, yeah. It's like we overestimate what we could do in a year, and we underestimate what we could do in a decade. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
I completely agree.
It only took us 3 tries to figure that out.
Only three. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the daily fail. All right, we are revisiting an old fail, right? It was a tough fail for us to do, right? Breed glove.
Oh, this is BitCloud?
Yeah, this is BitCloud. Okay, so breed love, BitCloud, all that good stuff, right? Okay, so anyways, look, so now we're down several months down the line, and we're gonna dive a little bit more into what has happened with BitCloud, and we're gonna kind of take it full circle a bit. And we're going to bring in some old friends, right? So let's start. So, Clout tokens, right, which is the actual, base token, right, for shitclout, are now worth 70% less than the price Nadar last sold them to impressionable noobs direct via his website. I don't really know who Nadar is. I'm sure I can go Google it. But anyways, he was supported by the most prominent VCs and thought leaders in crypto. This happened in 2021, 4 years after Dentacoin. Why didn't they know better? Okay. 950 BTC has been siphoned from BitCloud's operational wallet, worth 38 million at the time of withdrawal. Take a look at that, guys. That's August 29th. All sent to exchanges like Binance and Kraken. Nadar has admitted the BTC was sold for fiat, 38 million in less than a year to develop a platform that barely works. If there's a definition of a grift in this cycle, BitCloud is textbook grift. Why this is acceptable, why VCs aren't shunned by participating in this circus is beyond me. What a joke. I feel sorry for the people that invested in this and believed this joker's lies. Here's a spreadsheet of BitCloud's withdrawals and where they ended up. It's missing 20 Bitcoin. Well, it's going to get updated eventually, but yeah, this will all be in the link in the show notes, right, for everyone. So here we go. Nadar capped the total Clout supply. So I'm guessing that Nadar is the person who originally started it. I really, even when we did the research, I never really honestly couldn't care less who the hell started it. Makes no difference. It's a total scam. Anyways, so here we go. Nadar capped the total Clout supply at 10.8 million when he realized nobody else wanted to buy his bullshit at $150 to $182 per token. Guys, this is created out of nothing. You can go and Google. I've explained this. It cost you like $25 to mint a shitcoin. Okay, imagine. Anyways, that means 2.8 million Clout went to retail bag holders. The rest went to early buyers, VCs, and insiders, which in turn sold them to who? The bag holders. Anyways, this was an insider enrichment scheme all along. Couldn't agree with it more. We had a great episode in the past. I don't know if we're going to try to dig it up and put a link to it in this show notes, but we covered BitCloud extensively already, so that, that's why we didn't really dig into it, but you could see, look, here we are, August 29th, and yeah, okay, $38 million and what? Right? A bunch of scamming. So here, let's move over. Let's take a look. So this is an interesting conversation between American Hodl and Breedlove, and anyways, let's just take a look.
It's even more Faustian because people invite you in on these things and they go, hey, you could get in on the pre-round of this or whatever, and you're like, fuck, no, I'm not going to do it. I guess this is a great point because my thought was I would buy but never promote, but then you're sort of poisoning yourself with misincentives, right? Yeah, you've encroached one step closer to shitcoinery, so you don't want to corrupt yourself. It's really hard not to fall for that's marketing narratives too. You know what I mean? You start believing in the thing that you own, and so you get caught up in the hype, and you go, "What if Safe Moon really is the next reserve currency?"
Watch that body language.
Yeah,
that body language on Breedlove, he was not feeling good for a couple of seconds there, and isn't that strange, right? This little bit going on there. Not sure. Do I buy it but don't promote it? That's essentially he totally promoted it. So what the fuck?
And I disagree with Hodl in the sense that dude, it's actually really easy not to avoid those things. If you have ethics, if you have morals, you're just not going to do it. I mean,
look, if you need money that bad.
Sorry, Phil.
Yeah,
hold on.
No, go ahead.
There's a really quote. I'm not going to get it, but there's a really famous quote, right? Which is, reputation is worth more than gold, right? And, especially in how Bitcoin works, right? Your reputation, your trust is so important in interacting with people in the community. That's the only reason they talk to you. That's the only reason they trust you, right? Is your reputation. So, think about it. For Breedlove, what I heard, I think he made 50 or 60K off dumping those BitCloud tokens. Was that worth the reputation that he lost? In my opinion, I don't think so. I think that reputation doesn't have a price, in my opinion.
Completely agree. I totally agree. I don't think it was worth it. I don't think it was worth it for him. I think that, I mean, look, again, right? You're not, who am I to judge what that person, what they value, to each their own, right? But at the same time, you also have to be, you have to be willing to accept the, the price of the consequence. And unfortunately, look, you got busted shilling absolute garbage, and this thing now has gone full circle. Everybody can see that it's a total scam. $38 million down the tube. We saw what happened to the token, the price of the token, right? It just totally cratered and will continue to crater. And I mean, look, you don't, like you said, you don't really have to do this. I mean, look, everybody, it's stupid to think that not everybody wants to have a better life, to have more money, to have nicer things, it's just ridiculous, right? You're not going to sit there and be like, no, somebody else wouldn't want that. They wouldn't want the same thing. Of course they do, right? But when you're going to sit there and you're going to, you're going to compromise, you're going to compromise your values, you're going to compromise your reputation, which, you gave that great quote, which really does explain it, right? Your reputation does precede you. I just don't think it's worth it. I think that it, you could just take a better path. It might be a little bit of a longer road, but at least you get to keep your self-respect. I think that's worth something.
I totally agree. And look, I think that what Breedlove did, look, and this is something, by the way, that applies to us. It applies to everybody, right? As soon as, if me and Phil ever start shitcoining, please make sure to whoop our asses on Twitter and call us out, right? Because that's what's important about Bitcoin, is that you could have provided all this amazing content like Andreas Antonopoulos, like Robert Breedlove. It doesn't take away from any of their Bitcoin content, right? But as soon as they drifted left, right, as soon as they started shitcoining, man, it's the responsibility of the community to call them out. And I think that Breedlove had tremendous responsibility on his shoulders because of the platform that he built. And as soon as he shilled BitCloud, what he's doing is he's legitimizing that in the eyes of his followers. And that's actually potentially costing the people that follow him millions of dollars, right? Elon did the same thing. He has millions of followers and he's shilling Doge. If he loses money on Doge, it doesn't matter. But the person that put their entire life savings, I've read some horror stories on Twitter, right? They're the ones paying the price, right? So when people have a platform, they've built a platform, especially in Bitcoin, Phil, the way that I see it is that you have a responsibility, not only to yourself, but to the people that follow you.
Totally agreed, man. It's just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. You know, there's always so far in this cycle, I think this is like kind of one of the worst, you know, like kind of like, oh man, that sucks. He created such great material. But you're right. You know, like you make an excellent point. It doesn't make a difference like how much value you brought. As soon as you turn, you know, as soon as like you flip over to the shit coining, you know, it is up to the Bitcoiners, right, to call you out. Because, hey, now all of a sudden you're legitimizing garbage. And that's not fair.
You're potentially hurting people, dude. Like, that's what it is. Like, you're actually physically hurting people. You're putting them in danger, right? Because you're essentially selling them a lie, right? And I love the fail that you did today, man. That was this is literally a textbook pump and dump. They got an influencer. The influencer dumped on his followers.
More than just one.
More than just one.
They think tons of influencers.
And then the coin went to zero, or is in the process of going to zero, man. Like, this is literally a textbook example of a shitcoin pump and dump, literally.
They also had that Oompa Loompa guy there, you know, I forget his name. Anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter. Some shitcoiner, who cares?
Man, but wow, dude.
They had a whole bunch of, anyways, I don't even remember all of the people that they had, but they had even like some music stars and stuff like that. Everybody shilling their stupid garbage self-made tokens.
So Gigi said he forgives him. Do you forgive Breedlove?
Okay, so how about this, right? I'm the kind of person, regardless of what it is, it's, you know, it's always forgiven but not forgotten, right? So it's no problem, right? If somebody, look, every single one, none of us are perfect. Every single one of us makes tons of mistakes all the time, right? And as a result, you know, you can't not forgive people. That's heavy on you personally. Like, the amount of energy that it takes not to forgive, that's a lot of wasted energy. You may as well just forgive, but then be mindful, right? That's all. And you have to, you know, and like a person can, you know, like possibly, you know, quote unquote, win themselves back in your graces, but you won't forget, you'll know that this is what the person is capable of.
Yes.
Right?
It's much harder to build that trust up once you've broken that trust. Yeah. And I agree, dude. I definitely agree. I think it's good to forgive. It's good to forgive people. I absolutely agree with you. But at the same time, I'm never going to forget that, because Breedlove was, you know, I hate this word, but a thought leader in the Bitcoin community. You know, he had the Sailor series, which was incredible, right? And then for him, right, of all people, you know, this is a really good lesson. Don't have heroes in Bitcoin, including Simply Bitcoin, by the way, guys. So
we
like,
suck.
Yeah, and it's like, don't trust anybody. Everyone wants your Bitcoin. You know, that's like one of the most important lessons when I first got into Bitcoin, is like, everyone's a scammer, everyone's at Bitcoin. Do your own research, don't trust, verify, right? So and this is just a classic textbook example of that, man. Wow. Holy crap. Incredible fail, Phil. But anyways, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review, sponsored by
Citadel 21. All right, guys, the meme for today. All right, guys, you definitely feel this, right? We're living through a fourth turning, but I got some good news. If you hodl Bitcoin, It's entertainment. Anyways, let's check out the meme that I perfectly encompasses this. It is by fellow plebe Hodl South African Hodl. Definitely give him a follow. And the son and the daughter's like, Dad, shit's going down in Normanland. Don't worry, son. We have Bitcoin. I know exactly how this feels. You guys know exactly how this feels. The world's going to shit. But if you have Bitcoin, doesn't matter. You're good. You're sovereign. Doesn't matter. And anyways, for that awesome meme, Phil, I'm gonna give it a very special score. This Coke can that I got in Japan. So it's in Japanese. Focus, stupid camera. There we go. So yeah,
cool.
Man. An empty Japanese Coke can. What about you?
I like it a lot. Yeah, love that meme. And you know what? I think that it makes me smile because it's so true. You know, like that's exactly what it is. It's like everything's on fire, and like we actually get to sit there and say, "This is fine. Everything is fine." But and we get to point at it. And you know what? I think for this score, I think this is going to be. It's going to be relevant. This is a do-it-yourself Spectre hardware wallet.
You built one!
Well, I built one, but I also bought the proper case for it. Like instead of printing it up because I suck. So I actually got the whole thing, like the whole proper thing.
Dude,
and it comes with and it comes with these it's like there's like enhanced security with it. It comes with, one of these smart cards. So essentially, if you don't have that plugged in, you can't actually unlock this, this wallet or anything. And here, I'll even start it up.
Dude.
Check it out. It's a touchscreen. It's not bad, man. Look. Cool, huh?
That is badass.
I mean, it's really not bad. I think, it's well priced, right? And and they're not a sponsor. I'm not shilling them because they sponsor us. They don't. I just like their product, and I think they have a cool team. So anyways.
Cool.
Yep,
yeah,
that's the score for the meme.
We have a bunch of plebs following us, so they all buy Bitcoin stuff, including
yeah,
myself.
exactly.
I buy hardware wallets, and sometimes 90% of them I never use, but it's just to have, I guess. But anyways,
I know, me too. I'm such a sucker.
Right?
I don't care. Big deal.
Crypto Cloaks, stop taking my money.
Exactly.
My room is filled with 3D Bitcoin merch. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks.
All right, Phil, we were talking about this yesterday during the numbers section. We were talking essentially about how Lightning and Bitcoin was in the 90s, right? And coincidentally, I ran into this tweet thread by Willy Woo, and he's exactly pointing out the technological leaps that happened just within a couple decades. So let's check it out. Here's the projected Bitcoin users expressed in internet terms. 1997 equals Bitcoin 2021, right? Internet 2005 equals Bitcoin 2025. Internet 2010 equals Bitcoin 2028. Here's how the internet changed, right? And he puts, man, this is insane, right? This is one of the most valuable companies on the face of the earth, right? Amazon. Their internet page in 1997.
Oh my gosh.
I
remember that page.
I was a child, so I don't, but I do remember the Amazon in 2010 because I was in high school. And dude, look at the leaps, bro. And now you go to Amazon today, it's unrecognizable compared to these things. And it's such a leap forward. So yeah, I think this is like a good, I don't want to say analogy. Is it? I don't know what a good, I guess, glimpse into what the technological leaps that we're going to have, right? We're interacting with Lightning now. We're interacting with the base layer today, which the base layer has actually gotten really good. There's like multiple different open source apps and all that stuff. But it's crazy how much that stuff jumps. And I think that was like a really cool thread by Willy Woo to show that. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I like that a lot. And it actually is. It is an analogy. And it's a good one, right? And we've seen this time and time again with Bitcoin, right? Like we've seen the other ones where, what was it? Wasn't there an article in what was it? 1990, maybe it was 95. I'm not sure. I have it bookmarked, but essentially that the internet was going to, use up all the world's energy, and stuff like that. Like we had, we saw stuff like that, and like that's just not the case. And here we are, 2021, and the internet has not sucked up all of the world's electricity. Like, that's just not the truth. The same way that cars, right, as much as we want to demonize them, they haven't destroyed the world. Like, they haven't, and they've proven actually to be way more valuable than the horse and buggy in the end.
It's crazy because people don't, and specifically like the people that think that the world's going to end, they don't incorporate, human innovation, right? Back in the 70s or 80s, it was like, we're going to run out of gasoline, right? But they didn't think about fracking. They didn't think how fracking was going to essentially change the oil and gas industry altogether, right? You can't think about the future technologies and how they're going to change the world. So yeah, man. Awesome stuff. But anyways, Phil, I'm gonna get a little bit doomsday-ish, but there is some good news at the end, right? Check this out. And again, this is another we told you so moment, right? We were talking about the negative interest rates in Europe, right? Here's a tweet by Plan Marcus, takes a screenshot. I guess this is in Dutch, in Dutch. Is that how you say it in Dutch? I think that's how you say it. Anyways, it says, as of October 1st, 2021, we will charge €5 per 200 or 500 euro bill when you want to deposit the cash to your account, right? So now, right, it's not only, they charge you for taking money out of your ATM or just having your money in a bank account, they charge you for that. Now, if you want to deposit money into an ATM, right, they're charging you money as well. And I'm going to kind of borrow a line that you said, Phil, a long time ago. They're trying to squeeze every single drop of lemon out of that goddamn lemon. But there's just like, it's reaching an end, man. There's no more left to squeeze. That doesn't mean they're not going to try anyways.
My father always calls it bleeding a stone. Okay, like that's what you're doing. You're bleeding a stone, and that's exactly what I think that they're doing. I mean, look, I felt this way already several years ago. Like already back in like 2010, I was already arguing with my bank about the fees. And I remember one time, okay, they randomly started to want to charge me, I don't know what, for some maintenance fee. So I called them up and I'm like, okay, I go, I have no problem paying this fee. I go, can you please provide me what services you're going to be offering so that I have a reason to pay this fee? And like the person just paused and they said, excuse me? And I go, yeah, if I'm going to pay for something that I'm now getting extra, I should know what services that I'm getting that are extra. And they're like, no, sir, it's a maintenance fee. It's like, okay, well, so then what are you maintaining exactly that you weren't maintaining before? Nothing has changed. I had to sit on the phone for like an hour and a half. I finally got escalated to their freaking manager and they finally took away the fee. And again, it's not about the dollar value. It's about the principle, right? They know that they can implement a fee like this and hundreds of thousands of customers, if not millions of customers, won't say a word. Okay? They're not going to say a word. They're just going to take it. And they shouldn't. We shouldn't. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And our money is the proof that all we've been doing is taking it.
Absolutely. No, it's crazy, man. But look, the system is coming to an end. It's not only us seeing that, so Ron Paul sees that as well. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to paint a picture with what's to come. And this is going to come relatively quickly, Bitcoiners believe, within the decade. But anyways, let's check it out. Check out this article by the Wall Street Journal. White House more than doubles its inflation forecast in new update. They keep doing this, okay? Every month, right? It's like, oh, this was unexpected, but remember, it's transitory.
Nico, it's transitory. That's right. I was just going to say.
It's transitory, guys. Don't worry. Okay, it's transitory.
Stop reporting FUD.
Anyways, the Office of Management and Budget said it expected consumer prices would rise 4.8% in the fourth quarter from a year earlier, up sharply from the 2% rise that the Biden administration forecasted in May. Oh, wow, look at that. You know who forecasted even higher inflation? Bitcoiners did. And I guarantee you that 4.8% number, it's going to be much higher at the end of the year, right? And if you incorporate energy and food, that actual increase, if you average it out, it's about 15% inflation this year. Of course, they don't want to put food and energy into inflation because it makes them look bad. So they have to take that out of the CPI. But anyways, they say it's because it's too volatile, but that's some BS. We think this trajectory is very much consistent with the inflation outlook we've been discussing pretty much since we got here. Look how much they lie, dude. We think this trajectory is very much consistent with the inflation outlook we've been discussing pretty much since we got here. And then up here it says, up sharply from the 2% rise that the Biden administration forecasted in May. So it's a flat out lie. But let me explain to you what is actually going on, right? I've shown this chart to you guys many times, okay? This is essentially why inflation is going up. The federal government, or the Fed, or whatever, to say it correctly, has printed more money, right, in the last year than they've ever done historically since 1971. Actually, this goes back all the way to 1960, right? And as you can see, it's literally a blue hockey stick. Now, look, the Fed is aware of this, right? They see this and they're like, okay, too much inflation. So they're relying on the tools, right, that they usually rely on, right? And that tool is essentially to taper it off, right? Here is an announcement, right? Powell sees taper by the end of the year, but says there's much ground to cover before rate hikes. Now, there's a lot of signal here. There's a lot of noise, but the signal is he basically said neither that or that, right? He basically said we're going to taper off, but he's not committing to tapering off. Now, Bitcoiners will tell you, and Ron Paul will also tell you, is that because they cannot taper off. Now, let me show you why we believe that, right? Here is the Fed asset sheet. Why am I showing you this? This is the mechanism in which the Fed prints money, right? So the Fed essentially puts bonds on their asset sheet, and that is the justification to print the money. So essentially, the Fed is buying assets, putting it on its asset sheets, right? And that apparently in the financial world, that's kosher, right? Because there's a liability there. They're not just printing it out of thin air, but they really are printing it out of thin air. Look how much stuff they put on their asset sheet. This is 2008. This is when the QE experiment started, right? This is a financial crisis, right? They're like, we're just going to do it once. We're going to do it a little bit more. We're going to do it a little bit more. Now, this is the Trump administration where they tried to reverse that, right? And this caused the repo market crisis, which he actually covered on this show, believe it or not. And look what happened. It was a catastrophe. They could not reverse it. It caused the repo market crisis, right? And here, Powell is claiming that they're going to taper it off. Now, guys, look, again, we want you guys to verify this yourself, right? This goes back to 2008. Look at this. This just looks to me, Phil, like they're like, it's like they're junkies, they're heroin addicts, right? They're addicted to QE. They can't stop it. And here's the kicker, guys. The stock market is also addicted to it as well, right? Let's pull up the S&P 500 index, right? Why do you think this is going up? We're in a pandemic right now, and the stock market is literally making all-time highs week after week. Have you asked yourself why? And the reason why is very simple. Money printer, go brr. That's why. So look at it from this perspective. If the Fed does taper off, what do you think is going to happen to the stock market? It's going to fall. What do you think that's going to affect the Biden administration? What do you think they're going to do? That's going to make them look bad. That's going to potentially make them lose an election. And I might add, they want to pass a $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. Where do you think that money's coming from? So I hope I've painted a clear picture, right, that the Fed right now is stuck in a really difficult position. And in my opinion, it's a position that they can't win. This system is going to implode. This is the end of fiat as we know it. Now, I said I was going to say some good news in the beginning, right? There is some good news. You want to opt out of this madness? Just buy the goddamn orange pill. Or just take the orange pill, buy yourself some Bitcoin, take it into self-custody, and they can't touch you. It's done, right? This is not going to end well. Look at the charts yourself. This is historic. This has never happened before. As much as they would like to paint it off that way, this is transitory. This is temporary. Caca, look at it yourself. We'll put the links down below. And man, it's startling. And what's crazy, Phil, is that we are not finance guys. We're Bitcoiners, right? So it's just so apparent, dude. But it's crazy because none of the mainstream media is blaming the inflation on this. They're blaming the goddamn supply chains and COVID. You know, it's like, it's absurd, dude. It's just so nuts what's going on, man. Phil?
Hey, their job is just to report the made up stories that they're told. You know, so I can't even blame them, really. I mean, I guess I could, right? They could just walk away, have a little more integrity, go and report some real news. But that's why. So they're being told to blame, you know, COVID and supply chain disruptions and all this stuff. And it's like, look, all we're seeing, okay, that chart that you pulled up showing the asset repurchases or the asset purchases, right, from 2008, all we're seeing is I'm sorry, you know, like our country is being sold out from under us.
Yep.
That is exactly what you are seeing here. Okay, you are seeing like essentially the exporting of just like of America, but not in a good way. Okay, because we are selling it for something that is absolutely worthless. Okay, it's so scary. I can't believe I can't believe that I can't believe that a small group of greedy people would do this to hundreds of millions of other people. And actually, at this point, when we look around the world, we're talking about billions of people. I mean, this is the most garbage situation I've ever seen. It's like, why would you do that? If you wouldn't want to live in these conditions, what would make you think anyone else would? Like, that's just like, just so disappointing, man. Like humanity, it's like as many great things as we do, like it's like these terrible things are just absolutely horrible. I mean, this is like generational slavery. And then what happens? You get to the point where it's like imagine, right, all these people, the only thing they ever knew was to save up cash. And like these people figured out a way to devalue them into nothing. And not only that, right? But you know that if you keep cash for too long, the bank won't even accept those bills anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's old. Yep.
So you can't even do that. Like that. So you can't even save cash. So you know what I mean? Like you're just penalizing these people that only really, you know, it's like, I don't want to be an investor. I don't want to have to risk my money. I just want to go to work. I want to save. And you know what I mean? Like create some memories, raise a family, and then drop dead. And you can't even do that with dignity.
Nope.
It's
and
so
you know what the tragedy of this, Phil, is as well? Is that like in the United States, right, a lot of the young people feel like they're being wronged and they're right. But
yeah.
What they don't understand, right, is that they're blaming the economic system. They don't understand that it's the money that is stealing from them. The money is broken.
The money's broken.
Capitalism works just fine. But since 2008, since the government decided that companies are too big to fail, that's no longer capitalism anymore.
Nope.
That is socialism. That is the government, the state, intervening in the free market and deciding this company's too big. We can't let it fail. We have to inject fake money into it so that it survives. You know, so it's like, man, it's Keynesian economics, right? It's absolutely dangerous. And dude, I think that, you know, I think that we're going to witness, right, the biggest upheaval since, man, like, this isn't just a recession, what we're going into, Phil. This is going to be insane. Like, the economic unrest and the political unrest is going to be surreal. And the only way that you're going to be able to protect yourself from this, right, is Bitcoin, specifically taking self-custody, dude, because I suspect in the future, the federal government, right, in a way of saving their butts, right, they're going to ban essentially self-custody, dude, the same way that they did in the 1930s with the 6102 order from FDR, right? He made it illegal for Americans to own gold. Why? Because he wanted to shut off that escape valve. Luckily for us, right, the Bitcoin escape valve is a lot more resilient, but only if you actually own your goddamn keys, right? So it's really important. And I saw a stat the other day, Phil. Look how crazy this is. 60% of people don't own their keys. They're relying on a custodian. It's nuts, guys. Guys, take self-custody. Take the time to learn how a cold card works. Put your Bitcoin on a cold card. Lock away the seed phrase. until Doomsday, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, that's... I hate it when we recommend the specific wallet, okay? Like, I feel bad, right? Like, Cold Card is great, but you could also, you know, Trezor, Ledger, you know, the new Foundation is out. That looks pretty cool, but I heard version 2 is going to be even cooler. I just showed you guys the Spectre desktop hardware wallet. You could try this one, and it works great with their app also. So there you go, right? There's lots of hardware wallets. Go check them out. You know, I just don't want to be a shill just for Cold Card. Come on. Even though I love it, still.
It's true. It's true. I own every single one of them, right? But I like the Cold Card, but it's true. You should definitely, you know, like make your own choice, right? Now there's a do-it-yourself hardware wallet. The SEEDSIGNER as well is pretty cool, right? So there's a lot of different options, and remember, no option is perfect. Everything has a trade-off, right? So yeah, man. But anyway, so there was a software release today. Why don't you show everybody?
Software releases. And speaking of SEEDSIGNER, SEEDSIGNER version 0.4.4 was released. It's a do-it-yourself stateless signing device for multisig. I think it's air-gapped, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
Very cool. Anyways, link to that down below in the show notes. Check it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, man, the SEEDSIGNER is badass from the videos that I've saw. I definitely want to build one. And Cloaks actually sells some, like, literally custom cases. You can make it in any color, and you could, you know, encapsulate it with Cloaks. Make it look cool. Make it look cool. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue, I laugh because there's so many. If you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fails from the central bankers, the fiat economists, the shitcoiners, the BitCloud, and all the above, and the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
Are you scared yet?